Good morning. Oh, I'm thinking this is going to be a very boring live stream for most of you. I think a lot of people just don't look into this stuff, but it is, what it is. Um, so it's good to see you guys. That's for sure. Timmy Dog, if you don't have very deep pockets, never get sick or injured in the Philippines. Yeah, that's true. That pretty much goes in most countries. There aren't that many countries that have good universal health care, or not good. That's not the right word for it. I guess, um, uh, you know what I mean. It's not always what they want. Slick Rick, good morning. Good to see you, Slick. Thanks for dropping in. The thing that I want to let's see here. D Webb is here. How you doing, D Webb? Thanks for dropping in. Mike Deziak came in. Thank you so much, Mike. We certainly appreciate it. So, a risk assessment. In business, we call it a risk assessment. In medicine, we call it a risk assessment. All right. Sometimes we call it, uh, um, a value added. Well, it boils down to, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it a simple issue of everything? But that's not really what I'm talking about here. Sunset Travel, good morning. How's Australia? Hope you're getting ready to come back. Slick Rick. Michael Atos, greetings from the zone. My cat is sitting on my lap, not the keyboard. There you go. I'm skipping all the hello to each other there. Hello to all in the room. Neil Davis. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for dropping in. Izzy and Chris, what is up? What's up with you guys? I hope you're doing well. So, risk assessment. I'll give you some basics just so that you can kind of understand. So I had a neighbor down the street, I don't know, 3-4 houses down, something like that, in Phoenix. And he did risk assessments. He worked for Payne Weber. He was a venture capitalist guy. And he was in charge of the risk assessments for healthcare VCs, venture capital. And he would show me, as an example, these folders. And in this folder, this would be like 20 pages, maybe less, 15 to 20 pages, outlining this risk assessment of whatever money or project that these venture capitalists were going into. Well, it's not that much different when it comes to you moving to a foreign country. Okay? It's not that different when you move and leave your country. You need to do, even if it's just the most minor, it doesn't have to be complicated. Even if it's just the most minor risk assessment, you've got to do that. All right. You've got to take a look at all of the things, because it's the little things. All right. You need to encompass some sort of method that's going to help you not just assess the risk, but be prepared for the risk of moving to a foreign country. So often it's the little things that really impact us. For example, you get sick and you need to go home and you need to know an emergency fund. Well, that's a big thing. And I think most of you all think about this. Most of you all look at what that risk is. But what if you need to go back to your country for a different reason? What if you need to go back to your country because you've had a family emergency? What if you've had somebody close in your family pass away? What if you have an issue that needs to be taken care of? What if there are any kind of reasons when it comes to, I mean, family, I use family as the first example because it is quite simply one of the most common. The most common reason that people go home unexpectedly is for health reasons. All right. The second most common is for family reasons. Well, and it's not like you think. I mean, it has nothing to do with the fact that, they go home because they're broke. All right. And quite frankly, we see more broke people staying here because they feel they're better off here broke than they are in their home country. That's just an issue that is for a totally different video. That's for sure. But the risk assessment means everything. What about if you still have property back in the U.S.? What about if there was a fire at a piece of rental property or a fire at your own home? Like, if we had a fire at our home, well, I would have to go home for that. I mean, I quite frankly, I think I would. All right. What about some of these other issues? I get a big kick out of some of these YouTube expats. I got raked over the coals a couple of times about you're too what is this bullshit, Mike, about dealing with your stocks and your bonds and your 401ks and your money and everything else? You're supposed to be retired. Well, you know something? We worked hard for all of that. What if something were to happen and money or U.S. money became worthless? How would I adapt that? I might have to go back to U.S. and change my investment strategies. Although my broker does this and does that, what if there was an alternative issue? Or suppose money stayed the same. I mean, I'm just giving you an example. Suppose money stayed the same, all right? But the real estate market fell through the floor. If there were opportunities if I could go back right now to the U.S., or if I would go back to the U.S. and I could buy a $1 million property today, or what was a $1 million property yesterday, but today, because of whatever world events or local events or anything like that, all right, I could buy that for $500,000. Well, gee, maybe, and you know what? We don't even have to use it. Suppose it was 500,000 and I could buy it for 100,000. I mean, we don't have to use $1 million as a number, but you do see those differences. Like suppose the laws changed in the U.S. over certain beneficiary products, and that I would need to go back to the U.S. in order to make sure that Arlene's beneficiary positions were still active. So what I am saying is that in all instances, you need to have a risk assessment. And that should basically fall into a couple of categories. The first one is if I got physically ill or physically hurt, am I going to be able to take care of that where I live? And how well? Okay. And I'm not going to say, it's up to you to choose um, what they do, okay, or how they do it, because it's everybody's individual choice. I could not, or I would not, because the risk assessment is too negative for me to live full time in the province away from a full service hospital. Okay. On the second hand, there are many people that don't feel that that's an issue for them. And I understand. If I were, say I was married to a Filipino, we had a Filipino child, one of my risk assessments, believe it or not, would be, hey, what am I going to do about education? How am I going to leave that? How is that going to be set up? So you have to look at every aspect, even if it's just minor. You have to look at it. All right, you have to at least put an umbrella that generally will cover most every issue. If not for excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't know how that stayed up there. If not for the issue of what we consider so major, we always talk about healthcare, but those are not the only things that will impact you here. Okay, you can get scammed. You can be stupid enough to invest in a business that you know nothing about. I mean, why would anybody that was a lawyer, let's use that for example, why would anybody who spent the last 40 years of their lives as a lawyer open up a water purification center? They have no idea what that business is like. Why would somebody that was an academic invest their money into a lumber mill to chop up and make lumber out of coconut trees, cocoa lumber, which is generally what happens. There's nothing out there that's going to cover all of it, but it is certainly something that you have to pay attention to. You have to at least think a little bit outside of the box. I can't. It's hard for me to sit there and say I don't watch my finances. I watch my finances. I look at them every day. Maybe it's because, I'm sitting here now as we speak. I still spend money in the U.S. I still have expenses in the U.S. I still have expenses in Kitchener. I have expenses in Angeles. All right. So we have to, you've got to do that. You absolutely have to do it. Now let's take a look at some of the comments and everything so far. All right. Let me just bolt back up here. Hold on a minute. All right. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Brewer fam, what's up, Brewer? How are you doing? Nice to see you could make it. Thank you. Amigo, ¿qué pasa? What's up, amigo? Brooks Rick, good morning. Michael, interesting thing about risk assessment in the Philippines. Silver and gold asset coins are valueless. Hard to sell a safety net known all over the world. I don't know. I have no clue. I've never tried to sell gold or silver here, so I couldn't even begin to tell you. Sunset Travel, I'm a prime example. It's happened twice now. Yeah, absolutely. And yet, at the same time, you were prepared to go home, and you have gone home, and you are taking care of it. Bacon sandwich. Good morning, bacon sandwich. How you doing? Bacon sandwich would be good. A BLT for breakfast would be good. Michael Atos. I tell people if you want to move to places like the Philippines, make peace with your maker. Life is cheap and don't count on anyone calling 911. I think that's pretty pessimistic, Mike. I really do. Um, I, you know, I didn't make peace with my maker, but shit does happen. You're right. Scoot B. Good morning, Scoot. James Gilbert. Good morning, James. Pablo Tropical Martini, the expat from Florida, sold everything and recently retired to the PI. I guess he can add him to the list, Pablo. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was my understanding after, because I did watch him for a little bit, but it's also my understanding he quit doing videos. Thank God. David Longley, good morning, mate. Sorry, missed the start. Hope everyone's. Oh, we're all doing fine, David. All doing fine. What's new with you? Scoot, one of my favorite topics. Moving to the Philippines and leaving my money in another country scares the heck out of me. I cannot access it and cannot get back to fix it. I can. I don't have a problem accessing my money. We keep the vast majority of our money is actually in the U.S. All right. Now, Arlen has for a Filipino, has a very substantial savings here. All right. It's a joint savings account. And then she has her Pagabig as well. But I don't know. I feel, I got to tell you, I feel somewhat difficult leaving my money here in any large amounts. I mean, it's not like it's got as much FDIC insurance. You're limited. I can have 10 accounts at Wells Fargo, and each account is FDIC insured, whereas here in the Philippines, the banks, it's one account per person for the maximum insurance. Scoot says, I keep accounts in several currencies and not 100% in USD. Yeah, we have Philippine money as well. Bacon Sandwich says, why do expats not move their accounts to the Philippines? Because we're not citizens. We don't have the same rights as citizens. And even though we may have the same rights as every account holder, account balances, account insurance, limits, everything else, they're all different. They're all much different. And after 50 years of dealing with banks in the U.S., you kind of have a threshold of what is and isn't. Michael, if the U.S. dollar crashes, so will most currency around the world. The dollar backs so many other currencies around the world. Yeah, but I'm not worried about that, Michael. What I'm worried about, I'm not even worried about the dollar crashing. What I'm saying is as an assessment, all right, what if the property values plummet? Wouldn't you want to be in on the purchase? All right. It's just like if property values in the U.S., aside from at the beach, because there's only so much beachfront, if they plummeted at 50%, 70%, I'd want to be on the buying side. That's for sure. Bookum Dano, risk assessment. Do you get butt hurt easily? Yeah. Well, you know what, Dano? If indeed they have a YouTube channel, then getting butt hurt easy is going to happen. Chosen one. How are you, Chosen? Thanks for joining. Bookham Sandwich. Bookham Dano. You been with them lady boys? No. I just had breakfast with Bookham Dana 2 days ago. Just all the interpersonal. Scoot says, also do not invest only in U.S. stock markets and only in U.S. dollars. Make money on the stock market and exchange rates at the same time. Yeah, it's easy to say make money on the exchange rates if you have money to play that Forex game. And if you know what you're doing. It's harder to do that when you live Social Security check to Social Security check, which happens. Bacon, why do expats not move their bank accounts to the Philippines? Well, I thought I answered that. Didn't I answer that? Yeah, I did answer that. You asked the same question twice there, Bacon Sandwich. Chosen one, nothing can prepare you for the Philippines. I promise. It's something like you've never seen. Every country is different. They say, it's if you've never been to an impoverished country, if you've never been to a developing country. Well, I've been to impoverished countries. Okay. I've been to Guatemala, been to Costa Rica, been to different places in South America. Went to Chile once too. That was interesting, actually. But those were all many, many years ago. And none of them are like the Philippines. However, the rural Philippines is not that much different than rural Thailand. It really and truly is not. If you get away from the tourist areas, rural Thailand is not that much different, in my opinion. Chosen one's just being honest. Michael, just make sure you get a piece before you go. Scoot, I always wonder how people think gold is a great investment against inflation when they buy it in U.S. dollars and then they sell it for U.S. dollars when the dollar tanks. Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting, Scoot, because that's so true. It is so true. That's just like, I made so much money on my Filipino house. Well, if you look at what the peso is worth when you try and cash it back in for dollars, you better have made a shitload on your Filipino home and property to really have made a crap load. Because you wouldn't. If you've done the math, take a look at it. Bacon sandwich, good. Are you the same bacon sandwich from the comments section in my last vid? I don't know. Did do your research before you got here. Okay. I'm not sure about that. Hector, not sure the percentage of expats who stop their Medicare Part B. That's an unwise move. Part A will pay hospitalization, but no doctor services and follow-ups. It's a risky move. It is. It is a risky move. However, do the risk assessment. So, all right, for a 10% penalty, you can catch your Part B up. So if you give up your Part B and you've given it up for more than 3 years, that 10% assessment is negligible when you want to reinstate it. All right, put it in a spreadsheet, figure it out. The payoff period on that's 3 years. Make sure it's to go. Jones, good morning. How are you? Another one of our breakfast folks. Chosen one, Charles Schwab is all I needed living in the Philippines. Well, you know what, Chosen though? But you were on a tourist visa, all right? You don't have property, you don't have vehicles, all right? You're going to need more than Charles Schwab when you make that move. And you didn't live in the Philippines full time. We talked about that. You go back and forth. David, not a lot, mate. Staying indoors. First heat wave of the summer. Nice. It was cold and rainy this morning here. Bacon sandwich. You never want to keep all of your cash or assets in one currency or in one country. That leaves you 100% exposed. I guess there's maybe some reality to that. Norman, Big John. Good morning, Mike. I keep the bulk of my money in investments. And investments are, I guess that kind of got cut off, John. I don't have all of that message. Thailand, a few months ago, froze bank accounts. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say it was a good place to put your money. I just said rural Thailand and rural Philippines are very, very similar. 5 years ago, as a single guy, I would have moved to Thailand. Now, as a single guy, I would not. I don't like the visa issue. I don't like the banking issue. I don't like there's a lot of things that I don't care for about Thailand as an expat. I do love the food and the shopping, that's for sure. Sunset, no need to move bank accounts now. Interest rates are better at home and banks are, et cetera, insured. Yeah, that is not bad. There are decent banking rates or investment rates here, but you have to understand where to go and the limitations. But getting somewhere between 5.5% and 7.5% on your money in a highly secure investment here is not hard. Pablo, Tropical Martini did another vlog 3 days ago. It's still there if you want to watch. I think Tropical did this vlog as a response to sick grandpa. You know what? Tropical Martini is another one of those guys that really needs to give the Philippines time to educate him. This is he's a typical, and I don't mean this in a negative fashion. He is a typical expat that literally is learned everything from and made all of his judgment calls from YouTube videos. He didn't come and spend some time. He didn't vacation here. He didn't do any exploratory trips. That is, quite frankly, a very dangerous way to do it. I'm not saying it can't be done that way. I'm just saying. Michael, I'm from close to Detroit, and I thought was all set for the Philippines. First trip to the Philippines, walking out of the airport in Cebu at night with all the armed security was real. Yeah, people aren't used to it if they haven't lived in countries like that. I mean, go to Mexico, for God's sakes, where every security guard is walking around with a shotgun. Go to so many developing countries. There we go. Norman says, sorry, misspelled. In Australia, in the UK. That's where he keeps his money. Yeah. And so he has multiple places to draw money from. So in other words, he's not limited to one methodology. He's not limited to one location, not limited to a single country. So he has options. And those options, let's hope he never has to use those options, but they are there in case one fails. David says, too late to jump on gold. I started when gold was 900 an ounce. I wish I had. I don't own any precious metals. You know what? People tend to think that I'm into stocks and bonds and everything. I own literally 8 stocks. That's it. That's all the stock that I individually own. Now, my investment, my brokerage account, my 401k, it holds pieces and parts of God knows how many stocks and EDFs and stuff like that. But, I would never be, I got to tell you something. That's the kind of shit I don't do or preach about because I am not I was on the bandwagon of buying Microsoft. I was on the bandwagon of buying Google and buying Apple and stuff like that. I could not give you a good technical reason why I did it. I'd be the last person to give you good advice or even sane advice. All right. So we'll see when it comes to stocks. Tropical Martini did his goodbye vlog yesterday. Is he leaving the Philippines? I haven't seen a vlog in a couple months. Last vlog I saw out of Tropical Martini was he was in Bohol, I think it was, and he was done with YouTube and wanted to concentrate on himself. And I haven't seen anything since then. And no big deal. Scoot B, they are delivering the first 6 Balikbayan boxes. All right, good. Ranger, good to see you, Ranger. I hope you're going to be here soon. Wow, maybe you won Norman over. It's always good to talk to those of non-believers. You know what? Norman and I, John and I, are different people, and we have different needs in our lives. We want our lives to function different than what the other one wants. There's nothing wrong with that. Norman and I, we've had our disagreements, and I don't doubt we'll have disagreements again one day. But I'm certainly, I'm going to be cordial at all times. I'm going to be supportive and reasonable and fair because it is just the way it is. There's no reason to be an asshole. I just don't get it. Not at all, Ranger. Scoot, we had 12 when we first came. Yeah, we had 11. So, but it took 5 months for ours to get to us because it was during pandemic. So, Steve Pickett, I get 7% approximately tax-free with Pagabig. It's MP2. I thought it was MP2 in the UK and New Zealand. It's around 4%. Yeah. So I'm not going to say how much. All right. I don't want to be accused of bragging. Arlen puts money, a lump sum every first quarter into Pagabig. And it's in the MP2 plan because they have I thought it was MP2. Is it MR? I don't know, Steve. I don't look at it. But, 1 year we got 7.5% or something like that. This year we expect to get 7 point something, maybe 7.2 or something like that. But it's safe and it's tax-free. She doesn't have to worry about it, and she just rolls it over. She just continually rolls over and lets the accounts build. And so at some point, she's going to have about 20. Oh, no, not 20. 10 of these Pagabig accounts. And it works. And I have a buddy that's at a bank, one of the smaller banks, and they have something similar, and he made 7, almost 8% on his money last year. Michael, funny thing is, many of the armed guards of the Philippines don't have bullets. If you look close at the revolvers, are empty. LOL. Shotgun, I won't question. You know what? I'm not going to ask somebody that's got a gun if it's pointed at me, whether it's got bullets. I'm just going to be yes, sir, no, sir, whatever. Michael says, book a pin on. Yeah, Dano says, look closer. There's always one in the chamber. Yeah, they might not have any in the chambers, but there's one. There's one. I was joking when I called you a swine, by the way. Oh, it must have been something from Sunset Travels last video. Thomas Skal, any thoughts on investing $600,000 US in a 1 megawatt solar system with 4 million watt battery to eliminate our 15,000 monthly average diesel fuel bill for generator to operate our rice mill? Philippine allows 7 years. You know what, Tomo? No. And I am the last person. I mean, when you get to the bottom of the list of people that you want to get financial advice from, look 3 down further. For one thing, what I know about finance is very concentrated in my little scheme of things. I know my little specialized area. And, I rely on my CPA. I rely on my broker to manage my brokerage funds and tax issues. No, I misspelled. Okay, so it is MP2 then. Okay, thank you. I don't know, Steve, I am getting older, that's for sure. Chosen One, I'm on the bandwagon of Bitcoin. It's all I know. For some people, it's worth it. I have a little bit of Bitcoin. When it was over 100, I sold the vast majority of it. But, if it drops back down to 35 again, I might buy some more. Who knows? Hector, if you stop paying Medicare Part B premiums, you must wait until re-enrollment, and your coverage doesn't start until July of that year. Coverage is not retroactive. Coverage is not retroactive whatsoever. But you can re-enroll at some point, and and there's a 10% penalty. Michael, Bookham Dano, not good for many people coming at security. Great security. I find it fine. Yeah. You know what? We have multiple security guys here 24/7, and I have no problem with them whatsoever. I really and truly don't. Will, good morning, Will. How you doing? My 7-Eleven guard likes to sleep with his gun hanging off his belt. Look, I didn't say it was all professionally represented, Sunset. Okay? That's the truth. I didn't. But it is, however it turns out to be. And nobody can say otherwise. That's for sure. Tomo should ask Arlen for fight. No. Again, we only are, we have money at BDO, and it earns like nothing at all. Okay. But it does, being a BDO platinum member does have some privileges, some perks. And one of those things is that I have immediate access to that money. Keep in mind, and it's funny, we don't take money. We've never taken money out of our BDO account. That wasn't immediately replaced, I guess. I think once we took money out of our BDO, some money out, but it was replaced at the end of the month. That's just kind of like, oh shit, money. And it sits there, and I know it doesn't make any money, but it also has some advantages. Michael says, yeah, just don't tell them you're a vlogger. Catching a flight to Legazpi, spend a little time in the province. Nice, Will. Nice. Michael, what the replacement cost will if hit by a typhoon each year? Solar is expensive up front. Cost of generation are cheaper, but cost more to run. Yeah, I mean, again, you're in an area, you're in a type of investment that I have no experience with whatsoever. And so I'm like the worst person in the world. David Longley, pew pew. Street Freak, good morning, Street Freak. Somebody told me your channel got taken down. But I see you're still alive. Tell me, what is the replacement cost? Oh yeah, you already did that. Yep. Hey, OBJ. Yep. So, I'm not going to delve into the pro-life Scotty Vitale stuff. Every other channel is covering that. They are either guilty of violating your values and morals, the legal values and morals, or they're not. I mean, keep in mind what we value. My morals may not be as high as yours. Like John, like Norman. All right. Our moral values are greatly different. Greatly different. Okay. Not that it matters. It's not that they're light years apart. We just see things differently. Street Freak. Yeah, Scotty Boy complained about non-copyright issues. So you got copyright strike. That shit happens. You're not the first one, Street Freak. 3 strikes and you are out. Book 'em. OBJ had to come to your channel. It was a expat attack live off the chart. Are you talking about coming out of Philly's channel? Is he, I had to leave about 20 minutes before, I had to leave Philly's about 9:30. So, was it still running, and was it getting kind of rude? I don't know. I mean, I have to go back and watch it. There's another clown out there, and I'll say it here. Jasper is a clown. He's mad his channel took a dump. Well, you know what, amigo? Yes and no. Everybody's mad, all right, about when their channel takes a dump. I mean, honestly, I don't think people recognize that if you're not a drama queen, if you're not just an AI dumpster or a drama queen or a crybaby, making views, getting views and doing things in YouTube is work. It's a damn job. I mean, all right, like right now, I have another business interest that is keeping me extremely busy. And because of that, I don't have time to make comment. So you'll have to deal with a couple live streams a week until I get kind of caught up. But Jasper's got to expect what happened. I mean, I had actually had high hopes back when Jasper first started, but then he ran his channel in a in a literally a tunnel vision. He ran it in a manner that doesn't allow it to expand. Does not, he is stuck in that niche, in that area, doing it that way. And that is certain death. We'll see. Ugly Tourist Philippines. James, good morning to you, Ding and Samurai. For those of you that haven't seen the Ugly channel, all right, give them a look. Thank you for not delving into that subject. I've been changing diapers. I came for the vasectomy. Oh my God, James. No, you are far from done, buddy. You have still got to produce a daughter. You have got to produce a daughter, James. So you have your little boy. Now it's time to start working on the daughter. Dano says, yeah. Will, sad seeing fellow expats and YouTubers throwing each other under the bus for clicks. You know something? That's part of expat YouTuber. That's the way it happens. All right. And it's not necessarily throwing them under the bus. All right. Sometimes you're just reporting or sharing what's being brought to you. Okay. There are a lot of people that just, my views of an individual are based solely on my experience watching them. So what if I only watch somebody 10 times a year? But then I find out that these other 40 videos that they have out there represent a totally different person. Then, you need to sit there and say, wow, if I'm getting my eyes open to that, then perhaps I should maybe help others open their eyes to that, so to speak. So now, don't get me wrong, though, Will. You're absolutely correct. There are people that are throwing people under the bus that have absolutely no clue. All right, none at all. I mean, they're just running with rumors and things like that. Philly in the Philippines. Good morning, Brian. I had to leave a little early this morning, so I was there till about 9:30, 9:40. I guess it's over now. Brian's Philly in the Philippines channel. Give him a look. I had to leave to take care of a couple things here before Arlen ran to SM. Michael says, I'd be scared to put solar panels on my place in the Philippines. I'd put a small system to supplement, but something I can afford to lose in a typhoon. Okay. Dano, it was all about expats attacking each other. I had to get 3 Red Horse and then come to your channel. Don't tell me you've been reduced to drinking Red Horse at 10:45 in the morning. Oh my God. So Street Freak says, to be honest, losing a channel is no big deal for me. Regular guy thinks he's won, but it just gives me more time for making money. It just gives me more time for making money. So it's okay. Later, I might restructure again. No biggie. At some point, though, Street Freak, don't you have to take a look and see, is it worth going after somebody? To what extent? And where do you evaluate the line that says this is too much trouble, this is not enough trouble, this is something that I don't have any impact in, or this is something that impacts me? Scoot says, well, 4 out of the 15 boxes arrived. The rest are on PI time. Yeah. Scotty Boy throws himself under the bus and blames the bus for driving down the road. He has done a few things, but you know what? I've never seen him. I make this statement, okay? Only because I don't watch him, I can't tell you. I can only say, does he say he was wrong? Does he indicate he made a mistake? Does he give an explanation? Dano says, exactly, that's all it is. Baby butt hurt expats. They just need some of that baby lotion, What was the stuff? God, now I'm going back 25 years, but they had this cream I would put on my daughter's little butt to help keep it from getting raw or anything like that once in a while. Street Freak, are you sure it was RG? You had some other content. Oh, yeah, I wonder. So do you get to see who it is, who the copyright strikes are from? Street Freak Sunset, I got the emails from YouTube to prove it. Okay, I guess you did. Solar would be ground mounted, built to stand 200-mile-an-hour winds. My God. Tomo, I mean, you're talking about an expensive installation. 4 years to break in, 4 years to reach the ROI. 4 years? That's too long. I would never look at an investment that takes 4 years to get to a break even. Never. But that's just me. I see. Mike, just remembered it's 5 p.m. somewhere and the red horse is cold. There you go. Daniel said, hello, I'm working to move to the Philippines. My biggest issue right now is a few points. One, visa money. I started a business to grow the capital for that. $50K is a lot. Well, you don't need anything like that to start with you can come here to the Philippines on a tourist visa, and it's going to cost you like 3,000 pesos every 3,200, something like that, every 2 months. In fact, Norman was in the channel. He's on a tourist visa and just paid. I think it's 3,000. So, you're talking about $65-$70 every 2 months to get your tourist visa extended. And you can do that over and over again for 3 years, Daniel. You don't have to, and you can get an SRRV, way less than $50K. OP or it's just fun. Just kidding. Will says, I seen your face on a Smooth Lee video. You can see my comments. I thought that video was funny. I liked it. But you know what? For those of you that haven't seen Smooth Lee's latest video, I want you to go look at some of the baby Trump AI stuff. All right. And then go look at Smooth Lee's. And he's not doing an AI baby or anything like that. But the way he talks in it just reminds me of the baby Trump AI video stuff. I thought it was great. I really did. I thought it was amusing. I thought it was fun. I thought it was, you know what? I enjoyed it with my coffee first thing this morning. Watching expat vloggers go at each other is like watching Jerry Springer live from the Nipa Hut Park. Yeah, the Nipa Hut Park. Is that like the trailer park? Something like that? Daniel's Edge. 2, people health lowers. I have pinpointed it thus far to water quality, air quality, and food. air filters, water filters, and stay conscious about food. Okay, so we have 2 air purifiers in our Angeles City condo. We have none in our Province house whatsoever. I only drink filtered water, okay? Except I do drink tap water, all right? Here, tap water here, which is supposed to be okay. Here at Candy Towers, it's supposed to be clean, but tap water for coffee, all right? In the province, I don't care. I drink tap water all the time for coffee because it turns to steam before it drips down. But Arlen always uses bottled water to make coffee. So, they need Diddy's oil. Yeah, I remember that episode. And we use air purifiers here because of the constant construction all around. There's always, especially in the summertime, there's a lot of particulate matter in the air other than smog. It's sand and grit and dust. 3, y'all been talking about solar panels. The biggest issue keeps me from getting it is a fuel generator can be fixed by anyone who works on it, but the maintenance becomes constant and costly over time. I don't really know. I've had multiple boats, and a couple of big boats. All right. And not uncommon for those generators to run. Well, you know what? They're not going to run like somebody's putting out electricity for a household or something like that. But we would run like on our big boat. All right. That had 2 staterooms, 6 air conditioning zones, hot water, all that stuff. We'd run that generator nonstop. Okay. For the entire weekend. I mean, that thing would crank up as soon as we were starting to pull away from the dock, from the slip. And then we'd run that thing, say Friday afternoon around 3 till Sunday around 4 p.m. Every weekend or every other weekend all summer. We lived on the lake practically all summer in Phoenix. Solar panels have no maintenance. EBIT, when it breaks, is no longer good. Entire reinvestment. The whole tsunami and natural said, yeah, it's scary to lose it all. I got to tell you, when you come to the Philippines and your ROI on that business is 4 years, if you don't think you're really going out on a limb, depending on where you live, hurricane, tsunami, typhoon, okay, earthquake, fire, natural disaster of some sort over a 4-year period, it's, those odds are out there. Redacted protocol. I'm tired of YouTubers using AI generated slop. If you're going to phone it in, I'm unsubscribing. I mean, the baby Trump stuff is a parody. And there's no way you're going to get a baby to do that kind of stuff unless it's AI. But I don't use AI for anything. So don't worry about that. Tomuskin, 1 hectare. What are you planning to power the entire barangay? 25,000 solar covers about 6 square meters. Destin, good morning, Todd. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you. Amigo, what I find funny are content creators promoting the Philippines. Then when things go south, they turn around and talk. Yeah, that is funny. I'm going to admit that is funny. You get these guys that talk about the Philippines being great, but then when they screw up, because 9 times out of 10, it's the expat that's screwed up. It's the expat that's fighting the system. It's the expat that can't assimilate or understand or become a part of the system. And then they bitch about it. They bitch. It's kind of like, you married that hot ass chick for a reason, and being bright wasn't one of them. And when you complain about it, well, that's nobody's fault but your own. Sunset, just my opinion, go to the tourist visa. The place may, exactly. I mean, you should come here on a tourist visa, spend some time. I never see Ruby on here anymore. Do you know if she is well? You know what, Todd? I haven't heard from Ruby. I was thinking about that this morning. I was actually on the phone with my daughter back in the U.S. this morning, and we were talking about something else. I can't remember what it was offhand. I had a long talk with her about a couple things. All right. And then in the back of my mind, it was like, I haven't heard from Ruby. I need to shoot her an email. And because I'm banned at Philippine Antics, I don't go into their channel hardly anymore. That's not to say I don't occasionally go watch, but I don't go into their channel that much. And Ruby was a regular there, and I don't think I've seen Ruby there either. So if anybody's heard from or seen Ruby, let me know. I certainly hope she's doing okay. And I'm going to try and get an email out to her this afternoon. Excuse me. If you have this data about the visa on a video, can you let me know? I have serious data already locked in, and I think maybe you know more and help me because I'm working what seems the hardest route. You know what, Daniel? If you look in our playlist, you'll see these things, but a regular tourist visa, you can be on a regular tourist visa for 3 years. You have to renew it every 2 months after its initial 30 days. All right. You can renew it for 1 month, but it's dirt cheap. Excuse me. It's dirt cheap, and it doesn't lock you in at all. In fact, I don't know of any visa in the Philippines that costs $50,000 unless you're getting up to you're starting to get up to like the quota visas. And the quota visa, quite frankly, the quota visa probably going to run you $50,000 to $80,000 to get a quota visa now. And you simply do not need it. You don't need a quota visa. There were years ago, back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, getting a quota visa was a great deal. But not so, because they only issue 50 quota visas a year per country. And quite frankly, you can apply all you want, but you're going to have to pay people off to get there. So come on a tourist visa, Daniel. In fact, before you decide anything, come here and spend some time. But otherwise, you can look down our playlists. You'll find all kinds of stuff. Street Freak, when you get a copyright strike email from YouTube, it tells you the YouTuber's real name. Ah, okay. How much did your air filter cost, Mike? Well, it's funny. All right. I can't remember offhand. I want to say the big one that we have ran us, it was, all right, so brand new, the big one was about $28,000, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but Best I remember was about 28,000 pesos. However, we found one for sale, used, came out of a Korean house. All right. And I bought it for, I think, 12,000, and then for 2,000 pesos, I put a new filter in it. And it's, and the guy had bought it for his mom who was elderly. It was like 6 months old. So, and it works like a charm. We use it all the time. Slick Rick, Ruby and her husband are both now and are probably traveling about. Yeah, it seems to me, I think Ruby, again, I could be mistaken. I'm old, all right? But it depends. But I think Ruby was planning a trip to the Middle East or to Europe, something like that. I don't remember. I'm amazed that expats will not drink the tap water, but will use ice made from that water or brush their teeth with the tap water. I have brushed my teeth with tap water. I prefer to use bottled water, but you got to brush your teeth, and sometimes what's available is what's available. Son says, I have a separate kettle I use for coffee with coconut water. It's very nice. Never tried coconut water, making coffee with coconut water. I don't know. I only drink brewed coffee. I don't drink any of the instant stuff. Timothy, the air quality index is 48 in my area. I do have an air purifier running in my bedroom now. Yeah, we have one in our bedroom and then one in the main room. And so the living room, dining, kitchen area, and the second bedroom, that's one air purifier. Excuse me. And then there's another air purifier just in our bedroom. If tap water is boiled, it's fine. Air purifier is a great idea, along with AC, of course. Oh, yeah. Definitely have to have AC for me. Again, that goes to the difference. We know people. I know a couple of expats whose electric bill, all right, is less than 2,000 pesos a month because they hardly ever use their air conditioning. We use our air conditioning. I think what you should keep in mind is at the end of this month, I'm going to put out a video. It's not going to be a budget video. It's going to be, what did we spend? And I'm very proud of it right now because I swear we have tracked every single penny, every single centavo for the month. And I'm going to do two things to make everybody happy. What did we spend? And then I'm going to highlight all the shit you don't need to spend. You don't need a car. You don't need car insurance. You don't need oil changes. You don't need tires. You don't need a scooter. You don't need an e-trike. You don't need this. You don't need that. That way you can choose and see how we live. And then you can look and see what you don't need. If solar's done correctly, there is no maintenance needed except to wash the glass every few months. The panels will be at about 80% after 25 years and hold at that level. Yeah, I don't know anything about solar. Dano, we have a generator, have had no problem when the brownouts happen, 9,000 watt. There you go. And I know Dano, man, he shows up for breakfast sometimes. He's always wearing a nicely pressed shirt and clean clothes, and his hair's always in the right spot. Okay. Now he swears he does his own laundry, but I don't know if he does his own ironing. Michael says, I made coffee from the drip tube from my AC unit, purified for free. Michael, don't say that bullshit. The drip tube has more bacteria than anything. You're going to say something that somebody's actually going to do. Don't do that, Michael. All right? Oh my God, they'll be getting a foreign disease in a heartbeat. AI slop is here to stay. Yeah, unfortunately. AI is a lifesaver for thumbnails, saves at least hours work. Scoot, the batteries last over 8,000 cycles, so match it with 8,000 divided with about 21%. At that point, the batteries will still work for another 30 years at about 70%. Yeah, and you're like, again, you're into an area I know nothing about. Alex, Bam Bam, Alex, how are you doing? My God, are you back here or are you coming back to Angeles anytime soon? How are you? Alex is such a great guy. Absolutely great. The, you know, sup, Alex, nice to see you. Tell him a 4-year sailor saves 720,000 US dollars in diesel, then produces $180,000 a year for the next 10 years. So in 14 years, the 600,000 investment returns 2,500,000 US dollars. Already spent 180,000 a year for diesel. Wow. All I know is that if I have to go into a business investment that takes 4 years to break even, I'm out. I'm not even looking at it. I'm just out. Charging from 30 to 50% does not have such an impact on batteries. Yeah. Almost all issues with solar come from installation problem, poor workmanship, substandard components from experts. Took an 8-hour course. Yeah. Scoot, sorry I couldn't say hi. I'm banned from the prior live stream. James, you're not banned from Philly. You know what? I got to talk to Brian about that. I got to talk to him about that because I don't think you're banned over there. It went well, Lick. Long road to recovery ahead, though. Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing better. That's for sure. Sending you thoughts. Scoot, the other sure thing, the old banned excuse. I may have to go to ER for sudden pain in my chest. Nope, I'm not. I'm censored, not here though. No, there's no reason. I very rarely ban people. Very rarely, unless you are an obnoxious piece of shit and you're putting out information that I know is vitally wrong and will, if somebody follows that advice, cause harm to themselves. Nah. I won't. The RVSS, the living visas, $50K, yeah, plus a few thousand to get it all worked out. I'm still running on a lot of words from 2023. RVSS, $50K under 50 years, 50 people a year, 50,000 under 50 years, 50 people a year. I just thought that it was. Daniel, I'm not sure what the RVSS is. There's the RSSV. That's the special retired special retirement visa. All right. If you're retired military, not even retired, you could have served 6 months in the U.S., Australian, New Zealand, UK military. Of the honorable discharge, you qualify for an SRRV. It's $1,500, $1,500 US dollars, and it is about $1,500 to apply. So it's a $1,500 refundable deposit. You deposit the money. When you give up that visa, you get the money back. It's $1,500 application fee. All right. And it costs like, I don't know, it's dirt cheap. I don't have one. I'm a 13A. I'm married to a Filipino. I have permanent residency, but it's somebody told me, I don't know, it's somebody out there correct me, but I think it's less than $10 a year to keep it up to date. but somebody that's got one can correct me. Street Freak says the length of time on solar makes it not worthwhile. Yeah, it's expensive over time staying on a tourist visa because constantly having to get out of Philippines for however long. Hotels. No, you don't. You can stay for 3 years. 3 years. You don't have to leave the country for 3 years. And you don't have to get a hotel. You get a flight in the morning, at night, at 10 o'clock at night. All right. You can do like John did when he got deported. He flew out that night, spent the night wandering around, dropped by what was it, Soy Six or Cowboy in Thailand, and then caught a flight back the next day. You know? Todd M., not asking your financial situation, but if you have the means, how much ready cash would you keep in the Philippines to cover medical emergencies without having to transfer? Todd, I think I would keep no less than $3 million. Okay? I'll just put it to you like that. For a medical emergency, I would keep no less than $3 million. That gives you enough to be able to get done most of what needs to get done, and at the same time gives you that time buffer of being able to then transfer more money. And been working, literally started business in the Philippines, a pig farm, to growing to make money with the hopes I could be there by 2030. Good luck. Good luck, Daniel. All right. I wish you the very, very best, but I have seen so many. You know what? I just wish you the very best. Scoot, just depends on where you get the solar equipment from and how big you got. Dardos, buenos dias. How are you, Dardos? ¿Cómo está? Hope you're doing well. The piggery investment. Yeah. The piggery investment, so Arlen, I've told you guys, we have this house in the province. Arlen likes the house, loves the house, but, we have to face the reality. I'm going to die long before she does. And rather than have this big house, what Arlen wants is a large piece of land with a smaller house. She'd like to build a single story, all right, no stairs, single story, 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. And then she would like to have enough land to have a nice vegetable garden. And she'd like to be able to raise a pig or two. She doesn't want to be in the pig business, but she'd like to be able to raise them, raise one and butcher it, sell one, and whatever. All right, not an entire piggery. I do think it is something way out in the province. It's something that people do a lot of, and I can tell you, even where we live, buying a pig is actually gotten in the province where we live, in a little town. We're not allowed to, if you sell a pig, if you raise a pig, you can butcher it yourself, you can do whatever you want. If you raise a pig and you sell that pig, all right, butchered, if you can sell it live, no problem. But let's say you want to buy a lechon ready to cook. That's a butchered pig ready to go. You have to butcher the pig. You have to take it to the abattoir. I call it an abattoir. I don't know what the hell the real name of it is, but it is a government unit inspection. And they inspect the butchered pig. And I can tell you, there are times during the year, Fiesta being one of them, where you better get that pig. You better get reservations for your dead pig. That's the best way to put it. Coconut coffee is amazing. Street Freak, explain it. No joke. We already started the business and I'm running on said concept. We've been building the farm since 2024. Well, I wish you the best of luck, Daniel. I really do, to support me moving there. I'm hoping you're going to have other financial support than just the piggery. I mean, I can tell you, in 10 years in the Philippines, how many times we've seen entire islands quarantined their pigs, where all the pigs had to be slaughtered or inspected. All right? So be careful. Hector, how often do you have your AC condensate lines, air input, output grills clean? I get total cleaning. And again, Hector, it kind of depends. So the master bedroom, every 3 months, that gets a total clean. All right? Completely. The whole top to bottom. Okay? Checks the refrigerant, everything that goes along with it. The spare bedroom, every 6 months. The kitchen, living room area, every 6 months. Because we really don't use those two air conditioners much at all. In fact, I could probably, if the problem here is cleaning the air input grills and everything, and the condensate, and getting all the dust and cement dust. The air is full of that here, absolutely full of cement dust. Okay, here in Angeles, and that coats the fins on your condensate areas and everything, and they have to be sprayed off. And I can tell you, I can take a hose and spray my stuff down and wash it out, and that crap comes out black. It drains black. It's bad. Street Freak, the biggest scam of the Philippines. Yeah, piggeries can be, unless you know. But you know what, Street Freak? You don't know that. If he's done it the right way, if he's started small, built it up small, done it the right way, it could be very profitable. On the other hand, you could lose your ass. You're absolutely right. Here in the mountains, the night temperatures can drop 17 or less. No need to run the AC. I actually added heat to the house. Oh my God, Scoot. Now, here, our air conditioning in the master bedroom goes on whenever we start to spend the majority of our time. Now, I will tell you this. I'm up between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning every day. And when I wake up, I actually turn off the air conditioning in the master bedroom because we have 2 fans, and Arlen is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. With the fans. And it stays cool in there. George says maybe that guy's talking about SSRV under 50, no pension. Maybe that might be it. That might be it. Daniel says SRRV 50K under 50 for 50 people per year. I've been working towards that because it's all I've been giving. So we start the farm business to support me moving there. I would just stay on a tourist visa. Okay. All right. So let's do some simple math. Let's say it costs you $4,000 a month to stay on $4,000 every 2 months to stay on a tourist visa. Okay, $4,000 every 2 months. Let's just throwing that number out there. Okay, so that's 4 times 6. That's going to be 24,000 pesos a year, and you can go 3 years. So every 3 years, all right. How old, Daniel? How long is it going to be before you retire? Before you come out here? But if let's see, what was that? 24,000? Yeah. Let me just figure this out. So hang on, I got my calculator here. So 50,000. 50,000 divided by 50,000. Whoop. Let me 24,471. 50,000 divided by that. That's so 50,000. What did I do that for? 48. You know what? I'm not even going to bother to look it up because I'm actually responding to another text. I truly believe the tourist visa much better. I really do. OPJ, wash and wear. Yeah. Well, you always look good. You just made very poor investment. When you get to the Philippines, there'll be no piggery that exists. Oh, you know what? Street Freak never has anything good to say about anything that includes risk. So, Alex Bam Bam, I was supposed to visit next month, but needed a last minute back surgery, so traveling for the next. Oh, Alex. Well, speedy recovery. I hope you're doing well. Sorry to hear that. Only an idiot sends investment money to the Philippines while said person is not even there. To cover medical expenses, at least I keep 50,000 US dollar reserve for hospital. COVID cost me 12,000 in intensive care, private hospital. Yeah, you can't. James is not banned on his channel. So we got to figure out why the ugly tourist can't figure it out. Unless you make up a troll channel name and I ban that channel, if the troll channel is attached to you, Google account, it will ban you under your YouTube channel name also. There you go. So now we got to find out what channels, what is James' YouTube troll name. Warning, warning, do not jump off cliffs and flap your wings, expect to fly. Is that the SRV deposit or not? Are you aware PDIC only insures about 18,000? No, PDIC now, 18,000, you're probably talking about US dollars. Yeah. But I mean, it's $1,500, all right? And it's 15, somebody can look that up, but PDIC is more than 18,000 pesos, okay? Tim, the SR visa has many different, a lot of options there. On the solar issue, build 25% of what you have planned, see how it works, build out. I don't know. I simply am not going to, I would not look at any business investment that has a 4-year ROI. It just helped a guy file his SRV vet visa last week. Business issue was the $1,500 US dollar application fee. They don't want to accept 2 of his $100 bills. So had to go get them swapped out. Yeah, it's got to be cash. I think a buddy of mine tried to write a check and they wouldn't take it. Everyone, please don't forget. I like my SR visa. No yearly reporting, statement about $20 a year. Yeah, there you go. It's cheap. Dirt cheap. 3 million pesos. Or 3 million pesos. 3 million pesos, Philly. Thanks, Brian. I thought he meant you. No, 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 no. Pesos, pesos, pesos. I'm sorry. Ain't no operation in the Philippines cost. Oh, bullshit, chosen one. All right. Now look, you know, chosen one, I like you, but I'm not going to let you spout bullshit. Okay. If you have a quadruple bypass and if you have a quadruple bypass and an aortic valve replacement, it's more than 3 million pesos. Okay. And if you have it at, like say St. Luke's, it's going to be way more. Yeah, what's going on? Rick wants to know why Philly doesn't have 3 million pesos. Come on, Philly. We know you're rich. $3 million. Why don't we know you're rich? I'm cloning myself in the U.S. for 3 million. SRV costs $100 a year and no requirement for an ACR I-card issue is the airlines in the USA that want a return ticket. I had to argue with them in Phoenix to get on the plane. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what the renewals are, but your SRRV card is an ACR card. It is a type of ACR card. Brian, not anymore. I spent it all in the fills. Alex, if a foreigner has 3 million saved, he would not live. 3 million pesos, Alex, pesos, not US dollars, not US dollars. And Alex, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I choose to live in the Philippines not because I love the Philippines, not because the Philippines is cheap. I choose to live here because of my wife and keeping my wife close to her family. So there are extenuating circumstances. Todd, if married to a former Filipina naturalized in the U.S., she can apply for SRV if she did not reacquire citizenship for $1,500 for her. And I can be dependent for $1,500 also. There you go. 3 million in the U.S. buys you a letterbox. No. Come on, street freak. That all depends on where you're going. Street freak must be living in Beverly Hills. All right. I guess the only place Street Freak lives is Beverly Hills, and he must be shopping on Rodeo Drive. Also, the SRV does not require yearly reporting to be done. Just pay the $100 the month before your visa is due to avoid the fine. There you go. I have not been asked for an exit ticket upon coming back. No, you won't. You don't need it. As an SRV, you don't have to have an exit ticket. OBJ, I asked to cover medical issues like you had. Thanks for the info. 3 million Philippines it is. Yeah. I mean, like, for instance, the worst one instance I had was when I had to go to the ER and then I had to have an emergency cardiac cath and stents. All right. So that was 5 days in the hospital. Cardiac catheterization, multiple tests, multiple blood work, 3 stents. Okay. And it was 950,000 pesos. That's not even, I mean, they didn't crack my chest or anything. So you can spend 3 million at the hospital here. It's not a problem. I'm starting to feel very sorry for you if you think having a piggery is going to support you. Everybody's got a dream, street freak. Come on. Let him have his dream. Maybe it'll be successful. Mine was the counter in Phoenix that said I needed a return ticket. It took them 2 hours to get an answer that I did not need one. Wow. Once every 6 months here. That's how cleaning your ACs. But you don't live in the middle of town like we do. 3 million pesos, about 50,000 US dollars. Yeah, so it's 20,000 per peso, per million is the rough number. So 60 grand, and you're good to go. I mean, that's a lot of medical care. Chosen One said, I'd rather start my YouTube channel than a piggery. Competing against the locals is always a lose-lose situation. Yeah, well, you've got to actually, well, you know what? You have a Filipina. She, the piggery, raising it and all that has to be in her name. The ones that make money on a piggery are the ones selling the feed. Buy a feed pellet machine, make pig feed if you want to make money. That might be an idea. Now that's interesting, Scoot. It's hard to explain on YouTube commentary. I bought one female pig. We already had one male pig. She's giving birth this week. Good deal. That's your investment building up. That's the interest on your investment. So, yeah, I mean, Street Freak businesses can start small. Oh, I thought you had 100 plus. Oh, my God. I wouldn't deal with 100 pegs. Chosen, let us know when you start your channel so I can subscribe. I got you. Daniel says, I do have my own money. I just don't want to claim it as the main money, like depending on my money. I want to build something and work with what is local. So I'm retired military. Well, so there you go. Okay. So you've got money. How much of your money are you willing to invest? All right. And then let's ask the real question, Daniel. How much of that money are you willing to lose? That's the real question. It's never, I used to laugh my ass off at people that want to participate in the business that I used to be in. And I used to tell them, the real question isn't how much you're going to put in. All right. The real question is how much are you willing to lose? Because if you're a smart businessman, you don't use your money. Smart businesses use other people's money. OPM. It's bank money. It's venture capital money. It's investment money. It's other people's money, limited partnerships, all of those things. Smart business, no smart business guy uses his own money, all right? Unless he uses as little of his own money as possible. I have serious doubts about this. So he's got to start somewhere. And if you know what, now that's affordable. I actually understand it. Okay. I mean, he's using his money a little bit at a time. You start with one pig, then you get another pig, then you got babies, then you get another pig to breed with those babies, then you got more. And once you get the genetic mix, I mean, it can be done. Daughter's unpacking boxes. Now I have 2 gallons of hot sauce and Worcestershire. Resto stock till next trip. There you go. Worcestershire, we don't have a problem getting Worcestershire sauce or hot sauce here. We're building it slow over time to get the concept. And that is damn smart. I mean, that's damn smart. The only way to make money is take risk on. The bigger the risk, the bigger the gain. It can also be the bigger the, I'd rather risk somebody else's money. Okay. All right. So here's an example. I know I'm going to get a real big ration of shit for this. All right. But this is the truth. The first imaging center that I built, the first one, it was the total, all right, lease, a 5-year lease that the corporation had to go on, all right, which was a limited liability company, LLC. The build out, the equipment, and everything else, computers, chairs, tables, exams, everything, procedure rooms, $2.4 million US. There were four of us that built that imaging center. That was our first imaging center. Our total out of pocket individually money, total out of pocket, all right, was a little less than $25,000 per partner. All the rest of it came from General Electric, Payne Weber Venture Capital, all right, and Toshiba Medical. We used other people's money. And that's what smart business does. You pay a little bit more. I'd rather pay 4% more interest than risk my own money. All right? Because the idea is you put in there early pay downs. All right? That's what you do. And you pay the debt off early. And when did you validate your investment from seeking approval from an online street freak? When did you validate your, red flag, you're only one putting money in? I don't know. Who knows? He may have other people putting money in, other family members. Is it on family land? Okay. It's time you got girlfriend, bro. Cheer up. It's not all bad. Who said I don't have? Well, Street Freak's over there in New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. Easy to tell. Sunset, I have. Sure you do. But not 17 like regular guy. Oh, no, here we go. Sunset, sorry you're not going to get near her. She doesn't need to know who I really am. Hector, PDIC coverage is that 18,000. It's something like it's close to. It's per account. It's definitely per account, and I think it's 18. It's a 200. What is 18K offhand? Let me just go flip this. Yeah, 18,000. It's 1,000,000 pesos approximately. 1,000,000 pesos. 18,000 US dollars. St. Luke's publishes cost estimates for major medical procedures, surgeries on their website. Not sure how regular. You know what, Hector? They do, and they're nowhere near complete. They are nowhere near complete. That we found out. They're close. I mean, you know what? They're probably about 75 to 80% accurate. But you got to keep in mind, when it comes to major medical, nothing goes as planned. All right? Nothing goes as planned. You may need more of this. You may need more of that. You may need a consult from another specialist. You may need another test. You may need more than one. For instance, you could have a mild stroke, and you'll be getting a CT scan to begin with to see if it's a bleed. Then they'll wait 72 hours. You'll get another CT scan to see if it's an infarct. All right. It never goes as planned. You should be prepared. Scoot, remember the rule is you can make money in the stock market if it goes up, goes down, or stays flat. I invest in all those ways. I have a broker, and I'm happy with the experience I've had with him over 30 years. Better off to invest in land like we did. Yeah, Dano's a land baron. All right. Street Freak, you invest 100,000 pesos and have to wait years to start getting a return. Better your money is in the bank. It depends. It depends. Hold and then sell for more. You bet. Hector, that is why I asked Mike. I saw that, and 2 to 3 million was common for heart or cancer issues. I wanted to know if he kept it locally, if he took time. No, I keep I keep more than that locally. Because I'm a sick son of a bitch. I mean, many of you don't realize this. I have a chronic disease. I was born with a chronic disease. So my medical expenses are going to be higher. My maintenance is higher. I have occasionally an episode, and as I get older, I'll probably have more. But um, that's money we keep right there on hand, and we can transfer money very quickly from the U.S. to here. Scoot, I like to borrow money for asset purchases. Prefer using less than 10% of my money. So, and it would depend on what the asset is, Scoot. I mean, the only asset, you know what? I'm not an investor. I that's the best I can say. I'm not an investor, and I can't give you good investment advice. Sunset. I hear there, you know what? He was thinking of starting to do a Leering Center Child in Minnesota. I understand that's a franchise, Sunset. You could open one in Australia. Why don't you just pony over that $150,000 franchise fee? It is not a problem getting hot sauce. Is living in Arizona for decades, getting good. Yeah, Scoot. That I understand. That I completely understand. Getting good Mexican food is so difficult. Something a registered sex offender would do. I don't know. Sunset, you spelt it wrong. No, I'm not in New Zealand. For some reason, I was thinking Street Freak was in New Zealand. I'm sorry. I've invested roughly 100,000 pesos in the two pigs, housing and food. From now on, it runs on its own. It's on owned land. So 100,000 into the two pigs, housing and food. So that doesn't count the cost of the land. That's just building the pens. And you're going to have to feed it, but 100,000 for, I don't know. I don't think that's bad. But again, it's not business. I wouldn't count on that kind of a business, but you want to grow that. And that's a whole different story. Just messing with you. So, Stevie, how can you invest 100K and never have to invest more? Pigs never need more food. Yeah, they do need food. Thomas, interest income earned from almost all Philippine bank deposits and investments, including those insured by the PDA, is subject to a flat 20% withholding. No, Tomo. Pag-ibig is totally tax-free. So instead of declaring the taxes, like Arlen has to declare taxes here in the Philippines on bank money. But Pag-ibig is 100% tax-free. That's a government-run fund that's done extremely well, that does extremely well. Book on land is no risk. I have to run, get some stuff done. Take care, Scoot. Do they have professional medical case managers that one can hire when undergoing major surgery, one that have proper connections with doctors, suppliers, pharmacies? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I am aware of. You're talking more like a social worker, a medical social worker, like they do. But not that I'm aware of, Hector. Personally, again, the business is just to make me live the local life, stay business. I have money. I just don't want to go to the Philippines and play it, as you all know. Rich early, retire in the Philippines is cheap. Yeah, sure. That I understand. You don't want to go to the Philippines. You don't want to check your investment. Daniels, oh my God, let me play off Jeff Bezos' cars, homes, and all the attention grabbing life. I just want to stay busy. My biggest vice is wanting to travel to Japan a lot. I used to live in Nagasaki. Ah, okay. No, okay. Do they still have contract poultry or hog growers there where corporations provide piglets or chickens and buy? I don't know the pig business. I don't know the chicken business. You know, in the province where our home is, everybody raises them on a home standard basis. I've never seen anything like Purdue Farms trucking in, you know, but I've seen plenty of trucks full of pigs. So, you know, how is that? Are they on their way to slaughter? Are they on? I don't know. I can't give you an answer to that. I'm sorry. Referring to the smallest scammers took billions in the U.S., one of them was called the Leering Center. Yeah. Yeah. And I understand it's a franchise now. How do you drive in the Philippines provinces where intersections are free for all? Ronald, pretty much the same way you drive here, where the intersections are free for all. So, I mean, most of the intersections outside of the metro areas don't have stoplights or even stop signs. So, you know, you just kind of deal with it. Michael, from what I understand, if you get PhilHealth, they audit the medical bills, pay the difference out of pocket. If you get PhilHealth and you go to a PhilHealth hospital and your PhilHealth using your PhilHealth coverage, PhilHealth pays, and if the hospital has a problem, they eat it. They have an agreement, a contractual agreement with PhilHealth. All right. Now, if you get treated for something outside the scope of that, that's different. Okay, here it is. There are many scams relating to piggeries in the Philippines. Often the investment money is not spent on the investment itself when you ask to see photos of your investment. Yes, the Leering Center was funny. Your girlfriend will see you pictures of another piggery. It's all a scam. Trusting people in another country you never met is risky, and indeed it is. Okay, folks, you know what? I'm caught up with comments. I didn't do a panel. It's been an hour and 52 minutes. I've had my day. I got to go ahead and get some stuff done. All right. I want you guys to all take care. Be safe. Be good. I'll see you on the next live stream. I might try and get a video out between now and then. But again, this project that I'm working on has been really eating up my time. Thanks so much. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.